we haven't been going too technical, have we?
Basically, I've gone, if it's completely gone over my head, then I'll cut it out.
Last week we were finished off the build of the space, getting everything in place, and we're looking at the branding for all the shops. So we've now started to add in the branding to the exterior of the shops. Laura's been busy with that this morning and this week, and I'm working on the interior of the shops, probably starting mostly with the fashion ones. So I've just been getting together like a lot of clothing, a lot of racks, shelving, all those really lovely tedious jobs, but it's come together now, so hopefully we can drop these into space that week, get them looking nice. In terms of visual, nothing else really has sort of moved on from last week. It's just more like putting these little bits together and finish everything off.
There are most of the systems now in, and the option to control your audio. So when we have different effects and music, we can separate that out in this nice controls. Hopefully by the end of this week, plan is to have the games and the hopefully as well the on-rail shooter in there.
What's the on-the-rail shooter, by the way? I didn't realise we were having one in.
So instead of Laser Quest, it's kind of sit in a car, almost like the Ghost Trains, but where you have targets pop up and you've got to shoot them on your way through. Theme-wise, I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it could be going through different film universes of the 80s. We're already kind of lean that direction with some of the assets. So, be a good way to repurpose it. And you can use, have sound cues and like events as you kind of move through, the textbook thing jumps out or waves that usually go by.
So with South by being like just over a week away, how confident you feel about being ready in time?
Very confident. I don't know. I think it's going well.
It is going well. I think we are at a point where it's like overloaded it with areas, I think. So we're going to reduce some of the areas that people can sort of chat and interact with to give it a bit more focus.
I guess better overloading it with areas than overloading it with ideas.
Yeah, that's
dev-wise, we're nowhere near as panicked as before. It's
definitely gone smoother than like RS or OT.
I think RS it had a high volume of stuff going on. We just had so much in it, and probably hadn't gone about it the right way in terms of what to develop first. But that's why. Each iteration of the space we've done has gotten better, and that's why this is it feels so much nicer and it's like a really strong point to build future events off of.
We're still in that weird bit where everything that we've put in from this is still led by some of our ideas. We learned from O2 and things went wrong with that. Even though RS went really well, there's still things that people didn't like, so we've put that into this. There's still a little bit which is us going like, oh, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. And at the moment, the more that we do, the more that user experience will be driven by the users rather than us. And the point of the South by one, point of the space is that we're going to open it out to the public. The public will be way more vicious than anybody else. So.
I'm really enjoying photo mode, by the way.
It needs some more options. That's the thing. If you send me the options, I can add them in. It can be fully fledged, over the top.
Have we still got bright pink, bright green?
Oh yeah,
there's the two options.
That's the whole colour spec of absolutely everything that's going on now as well. Everything that I'm doing is lit pink, bright pink. I think there's more now. There's a photo mode in there. I think there's more pressing things to get ticked off before we start looking at all the different sort of custom presets and or chromatic aberration and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we can
nice
wait on that stuff.
There was a cool filter that I stumbled across. I think I shared it with Connor weeks ago, like an 8-bit filter one. Do you remember that, Connor?
Oh yeah, I that can definitely be done through a shader. It's just that's a time thing, but it would be really cool to have in.
Is there stuff you can do then based off the post-processing unit that Unity's got?
Yeah, and so the stuff that it's doing at the moment is based off of kind of any settings that are in Unity's kind of post-processing stack. But we could write a custom shader and have that apply to essentially just screen space. So
that's far down the line.
Yeah, basically, if however it looks, you could just stick something else on top of it, and depth of field 8-bit. I'm sure it'll look amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna look weird, that, isn't it?
So I guess what are you hoping that people get from South by when they come to the space?
It's just a bit of fun. It is a bit of fun, and understanding that we've made the space and we make these spaces for businesses, but it's just got to be fun, more interesting than another fucking Zoom call. That's it, really. And if it can achieve that and give people 20 minutes, half an hour, just sort of pottering around learning what Superla do and give them this playground, then that's it, really. It's got to sell our attitude to making these things rather than making the spaces. What I find is that people focus on the features of something like, oh, it does this, does it? But actually, a lot of it is like, well, they don't matter. They're just there. They're a given. It's the attitude of, we make these spaces that are a bit more interesting than a Teams call or a Zoom call or a normal webinar. I think that's what we want people to take away from it.
It's easier to get across the kind of attitude of it and all that when you're actually in the space, instead of saying, we make a space where you can get your customers to come look at all this interesting stuff. We've got it in an 80 shopping mall, and I was like, I don't think on paper that sounds as maybe as interesting as it is actually in the space. Well,
it's just nostalgia and fun. So people can walk around and go like, oh, I remember going to places that had that, or I remember that. And it's just these little nods to things. And then ultimately going like, well, the space stands up. So do you want one of these for your business? That's it, I suppose.
Oh, that's another thing. We've been adding emotes. So now we have, what is that? It's variations on dancing.
Dancing, pointing, cheering. That's it, I think. But there's there's quite a lot of different dances. So I don't know whether, I don't know whether we're going to random them or whether it's just going to be there's the wheel and you just choose which dance.
Connor told me they were going to be networked, so they were all in sync, like in Sea of Thieves when we play an instrument. Connor told me that was no problem.
You can definitely see them. You can definitely see them cross network, and if you believe hard enough, then they are definitely synced up.
Yeah, okay. If you believe hard enough.
Free camera mode just exists as a object on player. So say you'd want to use your photo mode in the event's still going to be live. So if you fly around, you're going to have everyone walking around and interacting.
What would you say your biggest worry is for South by? Have you got anything that stands out as I don't want this to go wrong, I don't want this to happen?
It's kind of that the baby bird leaving the nest idea. If you just kind of put it out there and well, whatever happens to it happens. So people are gonna have their opinions as long as the servers don't break and people can get around and actually interact with stuff. Then tech side is a success. We've proven we can do that, so I'm pretty confident in it.
From the other side of it, I've got to do a panel discussion and I've got to do a pitch on Wednesday as part of it. So I was largely just hoping that all the American people tuning in can understand a single word that I say, because that is usually a rarity, and don't make us all absolute idiots because of the way I am. That's my main worry. Is do I continue to get away with this nonsense, or at some point is somebody going to go, that guy's a fool?